Welcome to Básico Inglés 4.0, the radio show with Kyle Miller. Following class by class, step by step, the material of Básico Inglés 4.0 on Aprende Inglés TV. Class 171. Let's go! Beginner. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the program for another day. One more time here, Básico Inglés 4.0, the radio show. That's right, where we review the content that you can see every day on Aprende Inglés television. And here we are in class number 171. Wow, only 25 more classes. There are only 25 classes to go. Only 25 classes left. And before we start, one thing I'll mention is here in your student guide, you can see, if you're following along at home, hopefully you are. Hopefully you're following the material. We have little tips, little words of wisdom, words to guide you. From the teachers, at the start of every unit, there is a tip. And at the start of every class here. And one from 2 days ago, there was a nice one here from Fitz. And Fitz is reminding you here to practice your pronunciation. And one thing that Fitz mentions, and this is true, is the difficulty with the S. So, for example, to say a sentence where every word begins with S, or many of the words begin with S. S consonant. And here we have it says here, class number 169 in your student guide, she's a Spanish woman sitting on a sofa staring at a stressed out Slovenian. She's a Spanish woman sitting on a sofa, staring at a stressed-out Slovenian. Here we have the S sound, and what you have to remember is that the S begins in your mouth with your teeth. S, 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 not in the vocal cords, okay? Spanish. She's a Spanish woman sitting on a sofa, staring at a stressed-out Slovenian. Or I could say, please ask me if Bruce Springsteen speaks Spanish. Kyle, does Bruce Springsteen speak Spanish? Yes. Bruce, no, he doesn't. Bruce Springsteen, no, he doesn't. Bruce Springsteen doesn't speak Spanish. Bruce Springsteen. So it's not Bruce Springsteen. There's no E. No. Springsteen? No. Bruce Springsteen. Does Bruce Springsteen speak Spanish? It's not difficult, but you do have to practice. And I encourage you to practice with these pronunciation exercises. Make sentences, just invent sentences with the S, for example, and practice. We say practice makes perfect, okay? So you have to work at it until you can pronounce properly. Do you mind studying every day? No, I don't mind studying every day. So here we are in class number 170 with our review of 170. Do you mind? ¿A alguien le importa hacer algo? No, I don't mind, with the gerund. Do you mind studying every day? No, I don't mind studying every day. Do you mind reading the student guide? No, I don't mind reading the student guide. Good. Do you mind listening to the radio show every day? No, I don't mind listening to the radio show every day. Do you mind watching the classes on television every day? No, I don't mind watching the classes on television every day. I don't mind it. Do you mind reading in English? No, I don't mind reading in English. So please remember, we never, never, never say, I don't mind to infinitive. No. I don't mind más gerundio. Okay, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind studying. I don't mind working. I don't mind reading. I don't mind. Okay? Good. Now, the other thing we saw in yesterday's class was vocabulary related to airplanes and flying. So imagine we're in the airplane. We have the takeoff. El despegue. The takeoff, yes. I don't really like the takeoffs. Now, if you have a takeoff can be bumpy. Maybe there's some turbulence and the plane is moving up and down a little bit during the takeoff or during the landing. We have turbulence when the plane starts moving around. Ella odia el despegue. She hates takeoff or the takeoff. ¿Y tú odias el despegue? Do you hate the takeoff? Yes, I hate the takeoff. I hate the takeoff. Do you prefer the landing? Yes, I prefer the landing. The landing, yes. So we have the takeoff and the landing. During the takeoff and the landing, you have to wear your seatbelt, your cinturón. Cinturón is a belt, cinturón de seguridad. We say a seat belt, like a cinturón de silla, we say. Seat belt. You have to wear your seatbelt during the takeoff and during the landing. And you have to wear your seatbelt also if there is turbulence in the airplane. You have to fasten your seatbelt. Also, you have to have, before you can board, so to get on the airplane is to board the airplane. You say embarcar. We say to board the airplane. You have to have a boarding card. The boarding card allows you to board the airplane. So they'll say, I need to see your boarding card, please. And you show your boarding card. And then they will let you board the airplane. And you take your seat. You fasten your seat belt. You may be asked to stow your luggage in the containers above you. So to store it or to stow your luggage above you or below your seat. If you have any carry-on luggage that you can carry with you, a bag or something that you can carry with you, you may be asked to stow it. So luggage, we stow the luggage. Then you fasten your seatbelt, and then we have the takeoff, and then the flight, and then the landing at the end. Yes. I fly fairly often. I fly to Canada at least once a year. In a few weeks, I'm flying to New York City. I have a wedding, and I'm flying to New York for that. Yes. Okay, so to fly. I like flying. In reality, I don't mind the takeoff or the landing because I enjoy flying, I'll say. Okay, as we move on now, we can take a look at our word of the day. Word of the day. All right, it's time for the word of the day. Our word of the day is deadline, which is fecha tope or plazo. But the deadline is the moment at the end of the acceptable period. So we have a period, the boss says, the report is due. You must submit, entregar, the report by Friday. You can submit it today if you want, but please be sure to submit the report by Friday. Anytime before then. So Friday is the deadline. The deadline is the last possible moment. It's the last acceptable moment when you can submit this report? The fecha tope, the deadline, yes. When you work, depending on the style of job you have, but there are very often deadlines. Yes, deadlines in your work, right? So, deadlines, yes. I don't really like deadlines, but I understand the importance of them. I think deadlines are very important to make sure that people stay focused on the work they do and just stay focused on accomplishing tasks according to a schedule. So usually a boss sets a deadline, to set, establecer, to establish a deadline or to set a deadline. Usually the boss sets a deadline, or the government may set deadlines for certain processes. There's a deadline for when you can submit your income tax, the renta, for example. There's a deadline for that. So, deadline, dead as in muerto, como línea muerto, deadline. All right, now as we move into class number 171, we see the verb to belong, which is ser de alguien, or pertenecerle a alguien, to belong. This watch is mine, so it belongs to me. This watch is mine because it belongs to me. Es mío porque me pertenece a mí. It belongs to me, so it's mine. Esto le pertenece a ella. This belongs to her. This, so third person singular, this belongs to her. ¿Te pertenece esta silla? Does this chair belong to you? Does this chair belong to you? Yes, it belongs to me. So, to belong to. Okay, give me affirmative answers. Give me affirmative answers here. Does this pen belong to Richard? Does this pen belong to Richard? Yes, yes. This pen belongs to Richard. Does this book, yes, this book right here, does this book belong to Fitz? Does this book belong to Fitz? Yes, this book belongs to Fitz. This book belongs to Fitz. Does that, whose cat is that? Whose cat? Does that cat belong to Natasha? Does that cat belong to Natasha? Yes, that cat belongs to Natasha. And whoa, that elephant. Does that elephant belong to David? Yes, that elephant belongs to David. That elephant belongs to David, we say. So to belong, we don't use, it's important to remember we do not use the present continuous. We don't say it is belonging to. No, it belongs. Present simple. It belongs to you. It belongs to me. This pen is mine because it belongs to me. That pen is hers because it belongs to her. Okay? So, it belongs to. It, third person singular, it belongs to. Those books, plural, they belong to us. They belong to the company. The computers here in the office belong to the company. All right. Vocabulary of the day. All right, now we can move on and take a look at our vocabulary of the day. Our 5 words of vocabulary. The first word we see today is según, which is according to. According to. Yes, according to the sources that I've read, the weather is going to be good next week. Anuncio en prensa. This is an advertisement. Advertisement. Contra. Against. Against. Now, we could say, for example, Real Madrid against Barcelona in a football match. Or, I am leaning against the wall. I am inclinado, contra. I am inclined. I'm leaning against the wall. Yes, against. Dormido, asleep. At 3 o'clock last night, I was asleep. I was completely asleep. I was sound asleep. I was sleeping like a log, como un tronco. I was sleeping like a log, so I was completely asleep. A-S-L-E-E-P, asleep. And then we have mejor que, which is better than. Better than. Your mother probably speaks Spanish better than me, right? Does she speak Spanish better than me? Does your mother speak Spanish better than me? Does she speak Spanish better than I do? We can say it that way also. Yes, Kyle, my mother speaks Spanish better than you. My mother speaks Spanish better than you do. Okay. So our 5 words, we had según, according to, anuncio, en prensa, advertisement. We can also say ad, A-D, ad. Contra, against. Dormido, asleep. And mejor que, better than. Better than. All right. Now as we move on into the last point for today's class, we have, once again, do you mind? But here, ask me. So in the interrogative, ask me. ¿Te importa hacerme unas preguntas? Do you mind asking me some questions? So remember, with the gerund, do you mind asking me? No, Kyle, I don't mind asking you some questions. So ask me if I mind changing seats. Kyle, do you mind changing seats? No, I don't mind changing seats. Ask me if I mind speaking slower. Kyle, do you mind speaking slower? No problem. I don't mind speaking slower. Ask me if I mind wearing a suit. Kyle, do you mind wearing a suit? Un traje? No, I don't mind wearing a suit. Now we can also use would. Would. ¿Le importaría hablar más despacio? Would you mind speaking, still with the gerund, the ing, would you mind speaking more slowly? No, I wouldn't mind speaking more slowly. Would you mind moving over? Give me some space. Would you mind moving over? No, I wouldn't mind moving over. Would you mind putting out your cigarette? Extinguishing. Ask me if I would mind putting out my cigarette. Kyle, would you mind putting out your cigarette? You're making me cough. Would you mind putting out your cigarette? No problem. I'll put it out. I wouldn't mind. No, I wouldn't mind putting it out. Finally, we also have this structure followed by a noun with do you mind? Do you mind the noise? No, I don't mind the noise. Do you mind my accent? No, I don't mind your accent. Do you mind her style? She has a strange style. Do you mind it? No, I don't mind her style. I hope you don't mind my teaching method. And I hope you don't mind stopping right there because we are out of time. And I think the technicians would mind if I kept going much longer. So let's stop and I'll take a break, but I'll be back in just a few minutes with the intermediate portion of today's class. And back for more at the beginner level tomorrow at the same time. Remember, keep studying, keep working hard. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.